Greetings, I am Liz.
And I am Scandal.
And let's find out in the next chapter together.
Woo!
Alrighty, so we are moving this forward. We are now aware that this is a format of the game, and we're going to get this nonsense every chapter, which is wild to both of us.
Agony, to be honest.
Okay, potentially agony. Also, it means we have to download the next chapter, so we will be right with you.
Yes.
Alrighty, we have downloaded the chapter and we are
Yes.
in.
I'm in. Hacker voice. Alright, I couldn't ask for a better situation than the last few days. I finally got my peaceful, boring life back and nobody's pulling pranks on me anymore. Well, maybe not so boring.
I was gonna say, it's gonna tell us what we've been doing with Ben.
Yeah, pretty much, because, now we have some time that has passed. Ben has certainly added some color to my life.
I love the ellipses at the end of things where there's so much room for interpretation of this character and what she's actually feeling. There's so much room for this is positive or this is negative or there's so much anxiety in here.
Yes, there's also a thing, so I was going to say, going to school has become exciting for me. So you can actually use, so it's actually an older usage of the word exciting, but exciting or causes anxiety, or like anxiously awaiting. Most people nowadays tend to take it as more negative, but if you actually look at what it means, you can actually use it in a negative or a positive light. It doesn't have to be strictly a negative thing at all, or it can be completely neutral, of just, it's a thing that excited the air. Right. It's not a positively, there was joyful, positive energy in the air and everyone was very happy. It could just be, there was an excitement in the air, whether that was nervousness, anxiety, or whatever it was.
You can excite the pigeons and make them all fly away.
Yes, exactly.
And you could be excited in fear or whatever.
I was going to say, you could totally read this still as her being sort of, not really okay with him, and also, again, where I'm like, his behavior is exactly the same as Jonathan's, so...
Or again, having the same behavior of, she's like, he's certainly added color to my life, and then going to school's become more exciting. Like, that's good, at least.
Yes.
Going kind of thing is fascinating.
Yes. Going to school has become exciting for me. Chemistry is now my favorite subject, since I get to sit in the same class as him.
Except that he said it was always your favorite subject, and that's why he was in the class with you.
Her, yeah.
So is that a writing error?
That seems like a writing error. That seems bizarre and also incorrect.
As far as he said, chemistry had been your favorite subject for your own merits and your own personal interest, and he'd been sort of quietly stalking you in it. Or at least, it doesn't have to be that serious. It could be like, there's a level of passion and enthusiasm here that I can use to encourage myself.
Yes.
And sometimes it really is just as like, you inspire me, and therefore I want to be around you because that makes my life easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, anyway.
Whenever he isn't at football training, he'll drive me home. I won't lie, I enjoy every single moment I'm alone with Ben, because at school, Mark and Kayla are always around. Are they like judging you or something, and your friend is actually really concerned about your relationship and the fact that you're a ghost? Well, in just the context of it, I don't even know how it works.
Is it even in your canon context, without any of our shenaniganery, because that's a good word. All right, there's this weird experience of her sort of describing her very limited experiences with relationships.
Yes. And
her only real relationship that she's had has been with Jonathan, even though she didn't mean to have it at all. And then immediately going into Ben with, again, canonically no experience in relationships or being close to people at all, or even experience really in dating as far as what they've said on screen, and going, I'm not sure how to feel about this other than, if it were my friend, I'd feel very concerned with someone that's being that direct, someone that's really kind of guiding and directing your actions. And a lot of him getting in her space and dictating and driving the shape of the relationship, and her having displayed herself being very, very passive. Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be like, if Mark and Kayla are your friends, there'd be a level of them feeling likely protective for you, but especially with Kayla, just going, I don't know why he's, one, making you act so weird, and two, he's clearly doing a lot of things that you, from what I know of you as a person, haven't really taken time to consent to or talk about or anything. You're just kind of being bowled through this by the force that is him.
Yes.
And she might even be like, wow, this is cool because it's not as bad as the other one. Or it's what I'm supposed to be doing because, you should be dating in high school, etc. And there's this experience where they actually analyzed women's, American young girls in relationship with boys, and especially in relationship to their physical experiences and sex experiences. And the bar is extremely low. Like for
Yes.
finding a boyfriend, it's basically if he doesn't make you feel sad all the time, that's good. And if he doesn't hurt you physically
That's
during
good.
sex, then it was good sex. Like that is where the bar is. So it's very easy to believe that she's kind of just in this sort of haze of this is what's supposed to be going on, and that's good.
Yay! Sure. Mark and Kayla are always around. Anyway, Mark says he has something special he'd like to show us. Anyway, where did that...
Are you talking to us, the reader?
What?
Or are you writing in your diary? This language sounds like I'm telling a story and then anyway, this thing over here. Like, who are you speaking to?
Yeah, who are you talking to? Also, I'm going still. How does that follow? From when Mark and Kayla are always around. Anyway, Mark says he has something special he'd like to show us. And you're like, wait, what? I know it's changing topics, but it still sounds really awkward of going, anyway, now we're going to shift over here to this thing that seems wildly disconnected from anything else that we've ever established or talked about, and also just has, I understand how topics change, but I'm still just like, it doesn't work for me.
Also, in reference to something he'd like to show us, is he talking about the three of you? Are you all four hanging out now regularly?
Right.
Like, Ben's there because I need to be here to protect my investment. And, you know, Kayla's there going, I need to support and also potentially defend my friend if necessary. And Mark's there going, people.
Huh.
There's people. Cool.
In my life. That's amazing. I wonder what it is. I don't know. I yawn widely as I get off the bus.
Ben was not available today, so I just rode the bus.
That's fine. As I get off the bus, I don't know why I feel tired, even after having a good night's sleep.
But it's going to be important to the plot somehow.
The journey to the school was very peaceful. I got to sit on my own in the bus, and Mark wasn't there. Why do you suddenly dislike Mark that much? And also Kayla. Like, I don't understand. Is it really just supposed to be your friends are constantly getting in the way of your relationship with Ben? Is that how we're supposed to take it? Which bothers me. I'm like, then why the hell are they your friends?
Well, and that's the thing is maybe this is more why people in the App Store had said the protagonist seems very vapid and empty-headed and very, you know, just like self-centered, that kind of thing. Because, but on the other hand, like I really can see, like if she's been raised in with your traditional romances, there's a huge amount of isolationist fantasy that is fed to young girls.
Yes.
That is fed to women in general, even in other countries and things of going, it's just you and them against the world. That if a relationship is working, you have time alone together constantly.
Yes.
So for her, if she's going, I need this one to work because the other one didn't work, it was such a bad experience, and God, you wouldn't want to have two failed relationships right in a row, then you really would be the slut that, you know, Jonathan said you were. Then her going, but, you know, they're always around. Not because I don't like them, but because that means my relationship isn't working, because I'm not getting the alone time you're supposed to get.
Oh, that's a good point. I actually like that.
So that's possible. I would say also it could be, if I'm tired, it's not necessarily that I don't want to see these people in them specifically, I just don't want to interact with anybody. So it was very peaceful, and then Mark wasn't there.
It's also possible that it's just going, I got to sit on my own on the bus, and Mark wasn't there.
That's
like,
the whole ellipsis thing again.
Yeah, going like, I don't know how this is actually, tonally I don't get this. Like, it could be more of them being excited that, yay, Mark wasn't there, or it could be, Mark wasn't there, why wasn't Mark there?
See,
that seems strange.
The ellipsis to me feels more like, I got to sit on my own on a bus, and then a pause, and going, and Mark wasn't there. Like a realization of going, this thing.
Well, not that I mind being around... Oh, okay, we know which one it is now. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, not that I mind being around him, but sometimes it's good to be alone, which is true. But again, in the context of where this is right now with the romance, this feels more like a priority of putting Ben over literally everyone else. This is also a thing that I've had problems with in regards to how people write stories anyway, where people have, you know, here's your character, your main character, and then there's their best friend who basically almost seems like A, they're in love with them, or B, they're so supportive and they're always there for each other kind of thing. But as soon as you introduce basically the guy love interest, because it's always in these books that this happens, where it's the girl characters, you know, together kind of thing, or even if she has a guy friend, she completely doesn't understand how hard she's friend-zoned this guy because he's acting like a friend. Oh wait, I'm sorry. But then what ends up happening is that these characters just, it makes me furious because as soon as the guy really does just show up, the entire story basically falls apart and it tries to turn into that isolationist fantasy thing that my friend Lies basically has talked about earlier.
Yep, and it's basically this thing of going, your story establishes these are really good friends that have been friends for a really long time, and then one minor event of, hey, I'd like to spend my attention on this other person, means they have nothing in common anymore and can't even have a normal conversation.
Yes.
And going, that just doesn't sound realistic.
Yeah, and suddenly everything is about antagonism and how the boy is bad for you and whatever else. And I'm like, why can't we just have a situation where the boy is fine or neutral, and your friend is just like, okay, I'm here to support you. You're having a grand old time, and as long as you're basically safe and you have you have basically more or less healthy interactions with your friend whom you've known for years, because they usually tend to be childhood friends. Holy fucking shit. You know, why can't it be fine?
Problems. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I don't understand that. Going, well, that's the easiest amount of artificial drama. And I'm like, but it's stupid artificial drama. Like, to me, it feels very unintelligible.
All drama that is contrived in your head, all created drama is artificial. Oh, yeah. But it can feel way more natural. And I enjoy that when it seems like, not like I needed something to happen for drama, but like this story fell to this thing, and people are dealing with it. It's that sort of that framing thing again that we've talked about a lot. Yes. It's how you approach it and where you put the focus.
Yes, which is like one of those things where we talked about, so when we were doing My Hero 1's Justice, we talked about Ida's character arc, where he goes through a very minor one where his brother goes off and his brother gets hurt. Yes. But because of the amount of time and basically the way that it had come across, both Liza and myself, she and I had actually felt that his arc was actually perfectly understandable, even though it was a dumb choice, and we'd seen this choice 90 million times before. Ida felt very invested because it was his brother, it was his family, it was his honor, and you could really, basically, to me, you could really access where that character was going, and it didn't feel forced, even though I've seen that beat 900 times at this point, you know,
and that's the important thing of going, tropes aren't bad, and they occur in stories so often because they occur in life so often. Yeah. That kind of thing. Like you go, oh yeah, I've seen that before, and then also because they're done so cool and relatably sometimes. And the thing is it's just important that they make sense for your character. That's one of the primary things that I always talk about, and the reason that we try and play a character when we go through these rather than just picking interesting choices is because building character is challenging for a lot of people, because for the most part when you approach a story, a lot of people want something to happen. Right. And if you want something to happen, you either need to start in that space and then figure out how you got there going out from it. Right. Or you need to find a character that their natural choices will lead them to that thing. Yes. Otherwise, you're ending up with an experience where you're trying to go, well, yeah, but they have to make this choice so they'll end up here. And if you get to a point with your character where you go, I have to make you do this, you probably haven't written your character so they would end up there organically. Right. It's like the situation we talked about with Neil Gaiman some time back, where he had a character that was going to go up into an elevator, and he realized if the character went up in the elevator, the character would die. And he went, how the crap, I have to be able to avoid this because I need this character to keep going. And then he went, oh God, either I have to make her make an out-of-character choice for me, or I need to have this character, then I have to go back in time and figure out where this basically needs to change. Or she just needs to die. Or she just needs to die. Because if you hit that experience with your character going, but if they make this choice, they'll die, then you either need to reassess your whole setup and not make a weird swerve right there, because that's obviously the choice they would have made, because that's the first thing you came to. Or you need to have some other contrivance on the other end. Yes. Or you let them die. Yep. I'm not a big fan of that one. Neither am I. But sometimes it's good to be alone. Good morning. I spin around. Whoosh! Speaking of the devil... To myself. Of the devil to myself. Oh, good morning, Mark. How are you? Did you miss me on the bus this morning? He beams as bright as the morning sun. I want to see him smile. Come on, dude. He is smiling, but that's like a small little grin. I want to see him giant smile, like ha. Ha. Like I want to see the teeth. Come on. He seems very excited. Commit. Did you miss me? No, I don't. No. Yeah, sort of. I mean, we noticed he wasn't there, so that's reasonable enough. But going, no, did you miss me? No, I don't isn't a response. Yeah, that's grammatically wrong. That's grammatically incorrect. I would be like, yeah, sort of, because based off of that, that sounds kind of like he was missed, even though there was the notation of sometimes it's good to be by yourself. It was going like, in some way, it sounded like you kind of missed Mark. Well, and it could be one of those things of going, I've noticed you weren't there. There's a couple of different ways to take the did you miss me? And also if she's a little disoriented of I'm tired unexpectedly and I just suddenly had time to myself and my thoughts are kind of over here, she could be like, yeah, sort of, because I did notice you weren't there, right? Which is a form of missing you. Right. All right, so yeah, sort of. Okay. Yeah, sort of. Sorry I didn't take a school bus today. My brother is in town and he wanted to drive me to school. Oh, that's sweet. It's okay, Mark. But tomorrow, Oh, but tomorrow? I promise. I'll go with you.
All right.
Are you angry yet?
I'm taken aback. No, I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, totally. Are you all right, Mark? What happened?
Right?
Well, why would I be?
I don't know. I'm not used to having friends, and so I don't know how this really works usually, especially not at school, because I'm not very popular and all that.
Oh,
It's just that you don't sound excited when you talk.
oh, are we having a problem that like Byrne really has aggressively been trying to shove her friends off now? You're my friends, now go away.
Or
Like-
a level of, I just sound very disengaged because I don't know what to do with things, so you don't sound excited. Not like necessarily you sound aggressive, but you just sound not engaged.
I mean, yeah, sort of, is sort of passive aggressive, kind of like, well, kind of. But...
Unless you're thinking about going, yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
And you're realizing it yourself kind
Right.
of thing. Or it's just kind of that, I'm not connected, yeah, sort of.
Again,
kind
no.
of like thinking in your own head.
This is one of those things where it's difficult to read tone. And that's where it's like, we could take that sentence, obviously, or that statement
3 or 4 ways.
And so this makes this any amount of confusing. So just don't sound excited when you talk. I smile at Mark and feel sorry for my not so funny joke at the same... What?
Was the not, sort of a joke?
Was it supposed to be a joke? I
don't know.
Or is they expected to say, no, I don't, and then this was where it was going?
That
would be hilarious. So we've noticed several times in these games, particularly with Genius games, again, what they're doing is they're giving you more like flavor text options. None of these options mean jack squat, and that's literally the options within the game itself as far as it sounds like, and also the premium options literally don't mean anything.
And then basically what they're doing is the lead out is exactly the same.
Yep.
So you're encountering a choice tree that flowcharts into the same answer.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Again, just flavor text.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually mean anything. It's just sort of an option for you to pick and then make you feel like you're playing a video game.
And there's been a couple of other games where we've run into it and didn't know what it was, but in specifically like the Arcana, there was one scene that we were super freaking confused about, and when I had to go back and edit out the visuals and the dialogue for the premium scene, I had to go investigate where the end of it was, etc. And I found out that the other option, that both options are supposed to flowchart into the same thing, and it just doesn't work, because in one, you're in bed with someone, and the other, you're in bed alone, and they assume you could have the exact same outcome, and for me, I'm like, no. Anyway, so it seems to be doing some of that here.
I really am just kidding, Mark. I'm sorry if it didn't sound like that. I'm just tired.
Right.
It's still early, you know?
Right. Yeah, you're right. I get it. I'm sorry for overreacting.
Well, it's good to know. Again, that thing of going, like, you're not telling people tone at all, so I can imagine more people, honestly, who play this game would find a lot more of these characters to be frustrating or confusing, because you cannot tell tone.
Or again, everybody else makes more sense, but your MC doesn't, and that's why you're bitching about your MC, because I don't know what I'm saying.
Right.
And so you go, my MC seems stupid, because you can't figure out what she's trying to say.
Right.
And that can really disconnect a person from the experience. And so I'm trying to sort of, as we go along, going, okay, why did everyone have this really similar review in the App Store?
Right.
And I'm getting more of a picture of it here based on, writing conventions and interactions. If people are going, oh, well, now all these things she's talking about, one, we thought nothing of her sexual assault in the beginning, or didn't even notice it because it's so prevalent, I guess, in media.
Right.
And then two, going, she's now just seems to be really focused on herself, and I can't figure out what the hell she's saying anyway, so she's irritating.
Right, which is really sad, anyhow. I
didn't mean to,
poor thing. It's fine. Anyway, what did you want to show me? You have something special, don't you? When Mark is about to give me a hint, Ben joins us.
Poof.
Hey.
Hi.
What's up, guys?
Ben is so tall.
He's huge. My mood is definitely getting better. Hey, Ben! Mark is going to show me something. What is it?
We have to wait for Kayla. We're a group now, don't you know?
We're a foursome.
We are all going to consider each other, because what I do know about friends, I mostly learned from my family, and honestly, we're pretty close and supportive of each other based on, the ostracization we normally have, but not with you guys. So I think you guys should have the benefit of, like, full-on friendship right away.
Yeah, that'd
Ben.
be awesome.
What?
Ben. What?
What?
I don't.
I'm a jock. I don't.
I'm a French jock. I don't understand this.
I do say once.
Je ne sais quoi.
Everyone shows up and it's just it happens.
They're just marvelous and I am beautiful.
All right, so we're gonna have to wait for Kayla until the next one.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much, guys, then for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and please also feel free to share our videos if you feel like anybody else might enjoy them. And other than that, if you'd like to support us, you feel free to go check out our Patreon or our Ko-Fi. We got some links in the description down below. Other than that, though, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!